You ever get drunk? You ever get, like, really, really drunk and do a bunch of stupid shit? Well, I have done that on more than one occasion. But there's one time that I can think of that I had it was a wild night, a bunch of shit happened, and I've never told you. Today felt like a good time to tell a story. I woke up today, my fucking middle finger was bleeding, my thumb was bleeding because of X-Man, I don't know what the fuck happened here. So, you know what, I thought, let's just reminisce. Oh, not only that, fucking rolled my ankle. I was getting into my car to take my mum to work, and I fucking rolled my ankle. So today just sucks, right? So I'm going to tell you a story about a couple years ago when I had just a wild night. This all took place in Birmingham. I don't know if you know, right? I'm not from Birmingham. A lot of people mistake my accent for a Birmingham accent. Not too far away, but this happened in Birmingham, England. There is a street. It's called Broad Street. So Broad Street is basically... It's like a really long street, just full of bars, pubs, like anything you would ever want. Snooker halls, clubs, anywhere that you could get alcohol. And there's a big canal by it. My brother once fell in the fucking canal because he was pissed up and tried to take a piss in the canal. And there were no guard railings for the canal, so he fell in it. They've added guard railings now, so thank you for him. Almost drowned, but now nobody else can by pissing in it. So anyway, one night, me and my boy, we were like, oh, okay. This is a good idea. We're going to go to Birmingham and we're going to watch a comedian. The comedian that was playing was Jack Whitehall. It was a great night. It was a good show. I fucking enjoyed it. We went and saw his show and afterwards we were like, yo, let's get some drinks and shit. We had a hotel. Our hotel, there are hotels on Broad Street, but like miles away our hotel was. So we were like, okay, let's go get a couple of drinks. We'll find somewhere. To be honest, probably wasn't the best time to be going and getting a drink because it was a Sunday night. There's not many bars or anything open on a Sunday night. For obvious reasons. I mean, it's Sunday. Who the fuck wants to go drinking on a Sunday? You got work the next morning and everything like that. It just ain't the best time to be doing it. We went anyway. We found a club. We went in there. And it was pretty fucking cold, by the way. I'd just like to mention. Like, it was freezing this night. This club that we decided to go to, the whole front was open. Like, there were a bunch of windows and stuff. And they decided to open it into the smoking area. Which meant if you were in the club, you were freezing your tits off. Nobody was in there either. So it wasn't even like you could get the heat from other people. It was just freezing cold. I only had a t-shirt on because I'm big brain. In fact, both of us only had a t-shirt on. So we're sitting there. Can I have a drink, please? Yeah, we were sitting there. We ended up talking to like the people at the bar and the fucking DJ and shit. I was like, hey, yo, it usually fills up in here pretty quick. What's going on? Because I'd been there before. I must have been 18. This was like 2 years ago. I was like, yeah, it usually fills up, but why isn't it tonight? He was like, oh, wow, man. Sometimes you get people in the Arcadian. It's like another group of bars and stuff in Birmingham. But yeah, man, it's too cold. Nobody wants to be in here. I was like, yeah, I fucking feel it. Yeah, I understand what you mean, man. Nobody's going to come tonight because, yeah, it's cold. Who the hell wants to be in here? To be honest, I'm going to pack up in a minute. So we were like, fuck. And my brother was coming to meet us, by the way. He's going to bring his car. And then he was going to stay in our hotel with us. But I'll get back to that. It took ages for him to get there. We had a couple of drinks, chilled out. He ended up showing up. He was like, oh man, what the fuck are you in here? It's a Sunday. Why would this club ever fill up? But you know, I was 18 and dumb as shit. So I didn't realise, and I hadn't been out all that much. I didn't have experience in like a million different clubs. So we were like, okay, we'll go find somewhere else. So we ended up walking down Broad Street. We found a bar. This is where the night took a turn for the worst. We probably should have just booked our ideas up, maybe went home and gone to a pub at home. But no, we decided to stay in Birmingham and go to this fucking pub. It was a bar, it wasn't really a pub. We decided to go to this bar. Big mistake. So my friend is not the smartest. He decided to go into the bar, which I didn't actually realise this beforehand, but he got cash. I think actually before we went into the bar, we went to get cash. He got about 300 quid. And I was like, man, look, in the middle of a town centre, you don't want to be carrying this much money on you. Split a bit with me. I'm not going to rob you, but split a bit. Let's do halves, right? I'll carry 150, you carry 150. Just so, if you get robbed, then you don't lose all your money. He's like, nah, man, it'll be cool. And by the way, I should probably point out, my friend that I was with, he's not like a massive dude. He's not like some fucking head that you wouldn't want to fuck with. He is a pretty small dude. So I imagine people would try and take advantage of him. Just saying. You should probably know that for context. Just split me half. No. I'm like, okay, fine. Right? I'll just make sure that you don't be an idiot. Clearly did not listen to my advice. So anyway, we go in, get a couple of drinks. First off, right, this is a lesson for anybody who's going out anywhere. To a club, to a bar, to a fucking pub. if you have a bunch of money in your pocket, don't take the money out your pocket. So let me use an example here. This is the money. They're titty cards, right? Ignore it. He goes up to the bar, and instead of just like what you would usually do is you would sift around in your pocket for like a 10. Oh yeah, it's gonna cost a tenner. You just find one. Oh wait, that's not a tenner, that's a 20. Okay, let's try again. Oh, here's a 10. There you go. No, instead he pulled the whole fucking wad out and started going through it. Boom, 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 boom. With 300 fucking quid. Are you alright? No, he's not alright. So, clearly somebody had taken notice of this. I went to him, man, fucking put that back in your pocket. Please, just don't count money in public. Like, you are just showing everybody that you have way too much money in your pockets. Do not count money in public. The damage had already been done. All of a sudden, out of fucking nowhere, this Spanish girl, which we talked to her in the end. She said she was Spanish. She came up, started rubbing all up on him, you know, being all flirtatious in a very forward way. She starts rubbing up on him and shit, and she drags him off. I'm like, fuck. So I nudge my brother. I'm like, look, did you not just see what happened? She came over, rubbed all up on our boy, took him away. Don't know why my boy didn't find an issue with this. You tell me how many times you've been into a fucking club and a random girl has come up to you and started rubbing all up on you. Just doesn't happen, does it? Right? But he saw no issue with this because I don't. I can't, in my wildest dreams, imagine why he didn't see an issue with it. But I could see an issue with it. We chill for a minute, and then I need a piss because I don't know where they've gone at this point. So I'm like, I need a piss, and I end up going to the toilet. Where do I find the girl? I'm walking towards the toilet. There's like a chair between the two toilets. There's male and female. Where is she? My boy is sat in the chair. She rubbing all up on him. And I can see her taking notes out of his pockets. I can see it with my own eyes. I'm like, oh my god. I was like, okay, I don't want to deal with this situation on my own. The bouncers stood right next to the toilets. I'm not going to start going and, what the fuck are you doing to some random girl in front of the bouncer? Because obviously, I mean, I can imagine whose side he's going to take when I'm the one causing an issue. Go back to my brother. I'm like, yo, I've just seen our boy with that girl and she's taking shit out of his pockets. Oh dear me. We both go. We go up to him. We're like, yo, do you want a ciggy? You want to? I'm not going to say the English word, but do you want a ciggy? So she comes out too, and my brother's a little bit half cut by this point. So the filter has gone out the window. As the older gentleman in the situation, he thought that it was his job to lecture this girl on her life decisions. So we go out into this little smoking area. He gives her a ciggy. He gets a ciggy. My friend gets a ciggy. I don't smoke, but you know, he lights them up, and then he's holding a beer. Or it might have been a cocktail. I think it was a beer, though, off the top of my head, in his hand. He decides what would be a great idea is to put the beer on the windowsill behind the girl who'd already just been caught robbing somebody. I'm having a conversation with somebody else that I've just met over here. My friend is, you know, clearly not paying attention because otherwise he would have felt himself getting robbed. Puts the beer on the windowsill behind the Spanish girl. Turns back to light his cigarette. I don't know what happened that night. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that somebody put something in his drink. Lit his cigarette, started smoking, telling her, why the fuck would you rob people? And she's sort of laughing about it, which baffled me. She was like, I don't know, kind of funny. I kind of wanted the money. She got £200 out of his pocket, by the way. Absolute bullshit. Oh, very, very funny. I got £200 out of his pocket, this, that, and the other. Then suddenly my brother takes the beer back, starts swigging it down. He finished the beer. There wasn't even that much left. There was like this left in it. Nails the rest of the drink. About 5 minutes later, boom, his attitude switches on a dime, which makes me think that somebody put something in his drink. And he's going crazy. He's getting angry. He's going crazy at her. Not like violent or anything, but he's just like really aggressive in the way that he's talking. Which, to be fair, we were all a bit pissed off about the situation, but I could tell that there was something up. I was like, this ain't right. Why have you suddenly gone from like maybe a 20, a 25, where you're pissed off, but you're talking to the person, to a 100, where you're just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? My friend who was getting robbed suddenly thought, oh, he's just trying to take the girl that I got away from me. So he ends up getting pissed off my brother. My brother's still on this absolute tirade. And he turns around to my friend and goes, fuck you, I'm just trying to help you. Da, 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 da. Then it turns out that the bar's closing. The bar's closing, so we have to leave. He's pissed. My friend's pissed off. My brother's pissed off. My brother's at this point 23, maybe. So, you know, he's been out a fair bunch. he knows how to look after himself. So we leave the bar, we walk outside, and my friend walks one way down Broad Street. My brother walks the other way down Broad Street. And I end up feeling like I'm at the end of The Walking Dead Part 1. I'm like, do I cut his arm off? Do I not cut his arm off? Do I go that way or do I go that way? My brother, who is clearly capable of looking after himself, or my mate who has just been robbed, who clearly didn't see any issue with getting robbed. Which way do I go? Well, I know that my brother's going to be completely okay. So I guess I'm going to pick my mate, because I know that he won't be okay. Caught up with him. I'm like, what's up? What's up? What's up with you? What's going on? He's like, it's bullshit. He's just trying to take my girl. I'm like, man, he's not trying to take your girl. That girl was robbing you. By the way, this is where I should probably interject. I am fucked out of my head by this point. I'm gone. Absolute husk of a dude by this point. I followed him, caught up to him, asked him about all that situation, kind of talked to him and was like, stop being stupid. You were getting robbed from. Check your pockets. He's like, oh shit, I'm missing £200. I'm like, wow, there you go. That's why we ended up having the conversation. He's like, okay, I kind of get it. Where's he gone? I'm like, he's fucking walked off. I don't know where he's gone. And also, I think he's just been spiked. So he's pissed off and walking through Birmingham. I don't know where the fuck he is by this point. Let's just go back to the hotel. We didn't think our hotel was that far away. And we also were walking through like a side street. We were like, okay, we need to get back to a main road so that we can get a taxi or an Uber or whatever. And I see a crack between a metal fence and a marble pillar where it was clearly construction going on. But in my head, I was like, well, that seems the fastest way back to a road. But the metal fence actually had a crack in it. It wasn't like I had to pull it. There was just like a clear passage to go through. So I was like, okay, let's just go through here. So we slip in. Suddenly, shit starts to look a little bit more construction-y. We're wandering through this construction site with not a clue what's going on. Everything's fucked up, you know, like, there's just shit everywhere because it's a construction site. And I was lost by this point. In the end, I ended up finding a guy that was buffing floors in like a half-built, it was like concrete flooring. He was buffing inside like a half-built office space. I was like, man, I gotta get his attention. So he's on this thing with his earphones on. You know, he couldn't hear shit. I'm banging on the window like, man, help me. He turns around and he shit himself, by the way. I'd just like to mention, he turned around and saw us stood outside, and it was like he saw a fucking ghost. He jumped out of his skin. And he took his headphones off. I was like, how do I get out of here? I got in here accidentally. How do I get out of here? He's like, just go over there. So I followed where he pointed, and it just led to a flat fence. But there was a taxi that had just dropped two people off on the other side of the fence. I was like, shit. So I'm waving at the taxi. I'm like, wait. To this day, I still don't have great memory on how I got over this fence, but all I remember is scaling it like a fucking lizard, being upside down, and then being on my feet. So in my head, I did some next Bruce Lee shit. I just went up, flipped, landed on my feet, and just waltzed my way to the taxi. I mean, I look back at my mate, and the look on his face was priceless. He was like, he just couldn't believe what the fuck had just happened. He says that I flipped over the fence. I would just like to take credit for flipping over the fence, because I don't remember exactly what happened, so you know what, there you go. And the fence was like a good 15-foot fence. Like a big metal construction fence. I have no idea how that fucked up I managed to flip over this fence. He got over, we both got over. I gashed my hand open getting over the fence, which I'd completely forgot about. Like, I didn't feel it. I felt it the day after because there was blood all in my palm, but I did not feel it at the time. Not only that, but I was wearing a pink and white striped shirt, right, like a t-shirt, and it said Paris in the middle. It was cheap as fuck, right, but it was my favourite shirt at the time, and I made a massive hole in that. I was so pissed. To be completely honest, I don't know why he even let us in the taxi. I'm clearly fucked up. My friend is fucked up. I got blood pissing out of my hand and a ripped shirt, but he still was like, "Alright, get in my fucking taxi." He didn't care. I really expected to get turned away from that taxi, but it didn't happen. Turns out, while we were doing all of this, my brother was actually trying to find the hotel that we were in. We said, yo, we're in this type of hotel. So he went to every chain hotel that was of this type in Birmingham. Got to the one that we were in and asked the desk, hey, is this person under this name in any of the rooms? But clearly he was on whatever had been put in his drink. He doesn't do drugs or anything like that, so that's why I'm sure that somebody put someone in his drink. They saw that he was on some sort of substance and they wouldn't let him talk to anybody in any of the rooms. So he was in our hotel, but the guy at the front desk just didn't want to let him in. Great. He ended up having to get an Uber back to our city. It cost him like £90 overall, which my parents ended up having to pay, which they were pretty happy about, just to say the least. He called us the next day and, you know, he was fucked up. I got home alright. I ended up getting back to the hotel, taking my clothes off, hit the bed, and the minute I hit the bed, I was out. I was just gone. Woke up the next day, and surprisingly, I could remember everything that happened. All bar getting over that fence, but yeah, I could remember everything that happened, and it probably remains one of the dumbest series of events that's happened to me on a night out. I'm not saying that this is like the worst night out story ever. I mean, I've heard some pretty bad ones, and I'm sure that somebody's going to try and one-up me in the comments, but look, this was just the dumbest shit to me. And it's stuck in my head and remained one of the dumbest nights I've ever had. So there you go. Pretty eventful, I think. I've never been hungover, but the day after I woke up, and I felt pretty shit. I mean, we had to walk all the way through Birmingham to the train station and shit like that. It was a good old walk, and it sucked. Never been hungover, but I think that's the closest I've ever been, because I did not feel great walking to that train station. It just was not good. All in all, what's the lesson we can take away from the story? Well, if you go out, watch your pockets, and also, don't be a fucking idiot.